Hello, editor again. Quick note before we start the video. For some reason, I cannot nail down this audio recording. The first episode had no audio from the game. Now this one, the audio's louder than my microphone. So thank you for your patience. Bear with me. Third time's the charm. I'll get it on the next episode. Anyway, enjoy the video. Thank you for your patience. Alright, welcome back to Ryan Rants, and this is part 2 of the playthrough of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So here we go. We're going to go back to our profile com, and I'm going to select someone. Let's see. I did Team 2 Pagaliace last race. Let's try Aldar Beto. His acceleration's not too good, but anyway, today I want to show you one of the best exploits I've ever seen in a game. So if we go to Junkyard, we have all these random parts at random healths with random prices, right? So we have the best engine in the game, it's a little damaged, which means the effect is a little lower and the price is a little lower. Okay. Well, last episode we learned that our pit droids repair parts. So here's the biggest exploit. If I go to change vehicle and I can select anyone else, I could even select the same guy. I'm just going to press A. It re-randomizes and shuffles what is in the junkyard. And this is very overpowered because I can just quickly scan around for the best items. If I don't see them, I just change vehicle again. Go to the junkyard. Oh, there's the best engine in the game. Oh, hey, it's a little cheaper than the last one. Well, that's okay. This is the best accelerant upgrade in the game. It's still almost full health. What if I want a cheaper one? I just change vehicle and go back to junkyard. And then I quickly scan around again. There's the exact same thing, Mag 6. Oh, still a little cheaper. Still too expensive for me. So I'm going to change vehicle. And you just keep repeating this until you find exactly what you want at the price you want. Ooh, tempting. I don't have enough for that, but look at that. Less than half health, second best engine in the game. And after I race with this, it will be full health because of my pit droids, and I'll get the full effect. And so that's why I just keep searching for it. I just keep going around and around, and I ignore Watto's voice, and I just keep trying to find the best thing. So I usually spend about 5 minutes in between each race doing this. Try Jet Air, that's the second best. Still not good enough. Change vehicle, press A. And probably won't be showing all the times I do this, just because I tend to spend a long time doing this. Darn. Ooh, Mark 5. Still don't have enough. A lot of these are expensive right now. Alright, let's just race. Okay, the Aquilaris. Oh, never knew how to pronounce that. Here we go. I'm going to skip the intros. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Yeah, this guy's acceleration is a little slow, but that's okay. If I don't crash, I don't need to accelerate. I don't mind his handling so far. Oh, just kidding. Okay, that ramp right there is very misleading. You will crash if you go off of it. I don't know what it is. I think it's the polygraphics in the game. Shortcut to the left there. But I think the polygraphics in the game, for some reason, it didn't connect the end of the ramp to anything. And so it acts as if there's a little lip at the very end of it, and you just crash every time. Oh! This guy's a little wider than I'm used to, but I love his cockpit design. Look at that. Looks like some kind of manta ray or fish of some kind. Looks so cool. Go off the jump and pull back on the stick so you get a little more air. Zoom it down here. But yeah, like, because this game is so old, the graphics are top notch, as you can see. But because of that, there are certain spots and areas in the game where you just crash for no reason. I think you saw on the last episode on the snowman on Beto's Wild Ride, there is a part right before. Come on, these guys. try drifting. Nope, that did not help. But you would have seen on the last episode where there was a part where I just spontaneously exploded. I just, for no reason. I'll try and show you. I'll show you this lap. I have a big enough lead where it won't hurt me too much if I crash. So I'm gonna boost off this ramp and watch. I'm just gonna crash. Here we go, boosting, boom. And there's no reason for it. It's just a weird little glitch in the graphics. And there's a few of those on some of the maps, but I know where most of them are. So I'll try and avoid those. This time I'll go left, and it's a very small shortcut, but when you're really counting for time and later on you have some pretty high speeds, it really matters. It's really kind of fast and stuff. So I'm gonna go, didn't quite make it. Those doors start moving on laps 2 and 3. Usually I just go through the right side on both of them. But this guy's a little faster than my usual, but he's not quite as sensitive on the turns. Oh, and his drift is really laggy. You can see if I turn normally, I turn, like my engines lead first. See how my cockpit kind of follows my engines? If I use the drift button, you'll notice a very big difference. I'll use it after this turn. Okay, now I'm holding it down. See how the cockpit really sways. Almost like it takes time for it to follow. Which is nice. Like that, I can turn super early, so if I start turning now with the drift, I can make that turn really smoothly. But it really depends on your racer. Some racers have a really nice drift. A few of my favorites are Clegg Holdfist. He has a really good drift. I actually think we can get him after this race. But anyway, with this ramp, I just skip it and then I go to the second one. And I don't know if that's intentional because they have 2 ramps there, but I don't think it was. Ooh, skimming my paint there. This guy's really wide. On the right side and stick on the right side. There you go. See, just stick to my normal routes. I won't get hurt that way. Although I do want to branch out a little bit. There are some hidden shortcuts and details that I've yet to try on some of the other maps. Why did this guy boost that? It lasts a while. Sharp left turn. I say sharp just because the tunnel narrows quite a bit there. At higher speeds, you'll definitely feel it. Yo, let's go boosting through here. Ooh. Man, close calls there. Okay. Still in first. Boom, there we go. And then I believe this should be Clegg Holdfist. Yeah, sure is. Dude, some of the designs for these cockpits are super cool. And there we go, now the 2,200 Truggets. Ooh, see this sharp hairpin turn at the bottom left-hand corner? That's gonna be a little tough. Malistar. Trying to remember which map that is. Alright, and I'm gonna do that exploit again. So I'm gonna change vehicle, press A. Actually, you know what? Let's try Clegg. There we go. Look at that hairdo. Nice. Alright, and let's find what I want. Let's do, okay, Mag 6, that's one of the best in the game. Full health, no thank you. I'm going to try and find a cheap one. Not here, change vehicle. Alright, and I've memorized what the best ones in the game. Quadjet, this is one of the best. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, that's going to use up most of my money though, and this guy doesn't have good braking. But see how I'm not getting a big boost? Like, it's still my lowest stat. Remember that. So that is still my lowest stat. And how much should I buy it for? Okay, so yeah, so it's worth 6,000. Lowest stat worth 6,000, and we're going to race. Alright, Malistar 100. Here's my worst stat worth 6,000. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Ooh, this guy accelerates way faster. Tap E, go around the corners. Go a little sharper. Rock right there. But right now, as I race, my pit droids are repairing that part. And so I will get a much more effective air brake after this race. It'll be fully healed. Instead of worth 6,000, it might be worth like at least 12,000, right? And there's a great exploit on that. Ooh. There's 3 pathways here, but they all lead the same area, so I just go down the middle, and there's a jump coming up. This is where I learned to pull back on the stick. So I was always pressing forward, and I'd crash there. If you're not pulling back, you're not going to make it. Okay, sharp turn. Drift, B, tap gas. Ah. That is the hardest turn for me to get every time. I've yet to make a perfect turn on that. Oddly enough, though, my wife, who's not as experienced, she nailed that turn. First time going around it, and I was like, what? There's no way. Maybe secretly she's the best at pod racing in the game. Oh, I forget how much I love Clegg. Dude, his handling is so nice. And I like his drift. If I just hold down the drift button, I can drift pretty nice. It's a little wide for me, but that's okay. Later on, we get a guy who is hands down bullseye not yours. You know, I'm waiting for one of these days in like the Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian. I'm waiting for them to mention one of these pod racers. I just want casually in the background someone to pop by. Oh man, this turn, it's impossible. But I want like Clegg Hold Fast to just walk by in the background. There's like a crowd around him, or Bullseye Not War, or something, right? Just like he's such a cool little Easter egg to have a pod racer just walking by in the background of this crowd. Or if one of the main characters like just mentioned it. So in The Mandalorian, when Din Djarin is helping that rookie hunt down Fennec Shan in season 1, it would have been so easy if he got the swoop bikes. He's like, is this all you could do? And the rookie would be like, dude, I'm not quadrant arrows, okay? This is the fastest I could find. Or something like that, just like a brief mention. Like, who do you think I am, Dud Bull? I think that would have been so fun. But who knows, maybe they don't have the rights for these names and characters. But they're in the Star Wars Episode 1. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna nail it this time. I'm gonna start braking. No, not quite. Ooh. Okay, see how it's flashing warning? If I boost, you explode. Because you're... Oh, that was not a good time to boost. Those guys are right behind me. But if you boost when your parts are super injured, they'll get weaker. And then they can ultimately break. Alright, 2000. Okay, this next map, Uvo 4, is a pretty difficult one. So anyway, okay, so let's go vehicle upgrades, and you'll see if I go down, right there, it's fully healed. It is now my best stat in the game. Or at least for now, right? But it was my worst stat. So if I go junkyard and I'm going to find the same parts. Let's just quickly scan around. Alright, let's at least see what it's worth, right? It is now worth 14,000 trinkets. And I didn't really even need it. So I just gained 8,000 trinkets. Just because I bought that part. So now I just shuffle again, press A, go back to junkyard. Okay, there it is. Another quad jet. It's the exact same thing. It's barely denting my stats, and I'm going to gain 3,000. So right now I have 2,700. I now should have around 5,000. And that is the best exploit in the game, right there. So I literally just looked up the best stats in the game, the best parts, and I just memorized the top 4 that I wanted. And that's what I do. I just shuffle, you go around. Second best engine right there. Oh, okay, see how it's red? That means I'm going to gain some money. I'm going to gain 1,000. I'll take that. And the more you race, the further you go, the more likely you are to find the good parts. That's still a little pricey for me. Mag 6 is the best accelerant in the game. And Watto kind of just talks and does his thing, so I quickly try and shuffle through as fast as I can and just ignore him. Oh, so close, so close. I'm willing to take a block 5 even though block 6 is the best. So I'm looking for a control stabilizer. I'm looking for a block 6 right there. Oh, so close. So close. So block 6, control stabilizer right there. That's the best turning. I'm going to buy it even though it's not very good. And then a mag 6. I already have the quad. Oh, there we go. Darn it. Okay. So there we go. That's a little damage. I'm going to gain, 200. Lovely. Thank you. And I might time lapse depending on how long it takes. It usually just takes me a few. Oh, nope, okay. So, you can tell if you're going to lose or gain money by looking at it. It's kind of hard to see the sliver, but it's green. So that means it's worth more, so I'm going to lose money. So sometimes I don't even need to go and zoom in. I can just look. Block 6, that's pretty full health. It's going to be too expensive for me. Maybe, but I lost money earlier. Yeah, I only have about 1,500. You know, I think I'm just going to race on Uvu 4 next. Ooh, that's a pretty cheap one. 6,000. I don't think I'm going to find anything worth that. Yep. Okay, let's race. Uvu 4. I'm not going to spend too much time as I normally do. 3, 2. And the reason this one is so difficult is because there's a zero grav area where you go into zero gravity and you can turn a full 360 around. You can corkscrew, barrel roll, but it's funky how it's controlled. This is a sharp right. My first time I went straight and just crashed right into it. Figure 8 coming up here. I always have to slow down, especially at higher speeds. And I usually have to hold down the drift button because it makes turning a little smoother. Because some of these narrow corridors get really confined and touchy. Hammers come swinging by here. There they are. I call them hammers. Oh gosh, nailed that one. Lovely. I don't know what they are, pistons, but I just call them hammers. Nice and smooth, that rotates. Okay, there's zero gravity. Right there. So if I go left and right, it turns me. But going up and down does not. And so it's really confusing. And I always hit these rocks every time, especially right here. And I have to like memorize the pattern to get through here, especially on, I have a challenge mode I like to play where if I crash, I lose the entire game. And so, or I lose that character. I call it hardcore mode. So right then I crash, I'd have to restart the race with a new character and I can never use Clegg Fist again. But I'll get into that later. That'll probably be a whole nother playthrough because I've already crashed multiple times with some of these people. But anyway, so that's why that is so difficult. And me and my friends do that too, where you race and the first one to crash at all loses. So it's pretty fun. I might have one of my friends cameo in one of these episodes here. And it's fun when you play like that because it feels so much more intense. Like you can't make a mistake. And it's not all about speed at that point. It's about best driving. All right, put my drift through here. Tap B. Alright. Oof. Hugging that wall a little too close through there. Let's not crash this time. There we go. Lovely. Another thing I love about a remake of this is more defined lines in the wall. Some of them are really hard to see. Some of these turns, that's going to turn. Some of these turns are very misleading. And so I always wish that there was like a way better remake of this game. Over here, there we go. Nice. The nice part about these zero grabs though is that it's really easy to get a boost through here. Like that. Okay. But yeah, if they made a remake of this game, it would be so cool. I'm like kind of obsessed. I wish they would remake this game so bad. And I think it'd be such a good move on their part. I think it'd be so popular. I just recently learned there was a Kinect version of pod racing that looked pretty dope. I had no idea how it functioned. But it looked fun. Now I should be switching characters every race. I want to try racing more with people I'm not familiar with. The problem is, it's frustrating. It's hard. So I might have to do that on the next playthrough when I do the hardcore, because if I crash, I'll lose characters. But for now, I think I'll just stick with my mainstream. So maybe branch out a little bit. Like I tried Dud Bolt in the beginning where I usually do Eve Endicott, just because I like Eve's handling a little better. Oh, that kind of just ran into that one. On the map in the upper right hand corner, you can see all the little yellow dots. Those are the other racers. So you kind of see how close they are behind you, which can tell you how risky you can get. Nice. Yes, I hear you. Okay, there we go. Charge again. Nice. So I've memorized this asteroid field pretty well, but there's two other maps. Ooh, I was going the wrong way. I never crash here, that's embarrassing. But there's two other maps with zero gravity, and they're pretty challenging. The second one I think is the hardest. But the third one I think is actually relatively easy because it's one of the bonus maps, and I think they focus a lot more on the course outside of zero gravity. Boom, there we go. Sweet, and who do we unlock this time? Let's see if I can remember their names. No. Ooh, Fud Sang. I think that's Fud Sang. Yeah, sure is. Look at that beautiful profile picture. Alright, Spice Mine Run. Okay, this is one of my favorite maps. I love this map. So I'm going to quickly run to the junkyard again, and I'm just going to get some easy money. Let's see if I can just buy this straight up. Nope. So I have 3,700. Control nozzle, no thank you. Let's change vehicle, shuffle again. Another Block 5 looks in better condition. Oh yeah, that's worth too much. Should have known. I should have known. No, let's change vehicle. Let's try Fudsang. If I try every new guy, I wonder if that'd be... Dang. He's slow. His turning's great though. Let's try. If I can find a good engine, this... Ooh, no way, that's way too expensive. Yeah, 14,000, almost 15,000. No, thank you. Just keep shuffling, but if I can find a good engine this time around to really help him, that'd be great. Block 5, no, too expensive. Yep, 18,000. Sometimes it takes a while to find stuff, so I might just time-lapse all this just because I might be here a while, and I don't know if you want to be stuck listening to Waldo the whole time.
You'll not find a better deal.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Anywhere,
Let's,
yeah,
get easy 6,000 there. Let's come back here.
Why nobody buy?
Yes, okay, great, looking good. Block 5. Let's do it, let's do it. Okay, immediately. My speed's way better. I'm liking this guy already. Control stabilizer, easy money. Well, 800. No, I don't think I'm gonna find better than that unless I really spend some time. Another 600, so that's easy. 7,000 right there. Block 5. No, I like my cheap.
He always wins.
And honestly, like, the Block 5 should be pretty good throughout the whole playthrough. The Block 6 doesn't really help, especially later on when you unlock characters with better stats. They're already almost maxed out on speed, so you don't really need the best engine. But hey, I'm a completionist type guy in any game I play. It's great. Oh, hey. Ooh, I might be able to afford that. Yes, sir. Okay, I just got the best engine in the game. There we go. For just a little more. Tri-jet, no thanks. Mag 6, that's the last thing I'm missing. Nope, if I can find a little more damaged parts, I might be able to afford one. Mag 6 is the last thing I'm missing. Dang, 11,000, no thank you. Alright, one more. I'm not going to bore you guys. One more. Block 5, dual control stabilizer. Easy. Ooh, okay. Maybe one more. Maybe one more. Can't help it. It's like gambling. It's addicting, you know. You just gotta find the right part at the right price. I feel like Pawn Stars, is that the show where they're like hunting down stuff and they rebuild them? Ooh, please. No. Okay, I'm just gonna time lapse this until I find the right one. Okay, I lost count after like 25 different shuffles, and I could not for the life of me find a Mag 6 injector for acceleration. So I'm just gonna Spice Mine Run. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I will take the loss of acceleration. 3, 2, 1. I don't think I've ever raced with this guy. Ooh, I do not like his drift. So see how I can turn if I hold drift. Oh, he's a little laggy. Ooh, he goes really wide. But that's okay. Fudsang is going to be our champion for this circuit. His little name placed on the pedestal. So, okay, the reason I like this map is there's so many options of routes you can take. So I've already missed like 2 different splits, which becomes 3 different splits. And I never know which route is the fastest. And that's one thing I love about some of these maps. You barely skim the wall there. But I love it when these maps have options and choices. It's so fun. Then I'm in that state of like, is this the fastest I can? So, shortcut coming up here, just to the left side of the wall. Ooh, nope. That's just a different map. Ooh. There's a little bus there. There's some obstacles in this game that change position where they are each lap. And it's really fun when that happens, because again, it adds like a factor of randomization, so it's not the same old race every single time, and I love that, especially when I race with my friends. So I think the way they designed this is really cool. This is the right turn the whole time, so you know the inside turn would be faster, but the tunnels will alternate. One is a sharper turn and the other is a wider turn. And so it's not always the best just to take the inside turn, if that makes sense. Like the tunnel that has the sharper turn will be a little wider of a turn. Now that I'm just going to stop talking about this makes sense. I'll show you next time. Alright, here we go. My top speed. I'm getting like 780. Nice. Oh no! repair. Oops. That's okay, it's fine. I'm gonna take the right side this time. There's a secret, right? Boom. See, but I don't think this is the fastest. If I look at the map, see, that was an outside turn, so I don't think that's the fastest route. But I don't know. I've never measured it. I've never taken a ruler to the screen, which I've done. I have always wanted to make a program that tracks the map and builds a detailed outline of each course. I always thought that'd be really fun. Oh, there's the bus. I missed it. I almost smacked myself into that thing. I was looking at my boost. But yeah, I've always wanted to track the map and just have a program that like records where all the dots are and just builds each map of each course. That'd be so cool. And then you could actually see a lot more detail. That's another thing they could do if they revamp the game. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about that. Revamping the game. I love to think that I have some good ideas about games. Because I play them and I notice things that could improve. Like Animal Crossing, don't even get me started with their multiplayer options. It's trash. I love that game. I have a lot of hours in that game. But just the multiplayer is not very intuitive, it's not very fun. So I have lots of ideas for it. But for pod racing, I have lots of ideas. First of all, what if you could change the driver and ship separately? So right now, Fudsang is stuck in this pod racer. He will always be tied with this blue, blocky-looking pod racer every time. Although I do like the design of this pod racer. The more I look at it, the more I like it. But what if you could switch out? What if Odie Mandrell had a better acceleration stat? But his pod racer had a really bad. But what if his pod racer had a really bad top speed stat? Right? It'd be so cool if you change each pod racer and they could have strengths and weaknesses, kind of like Mario Kart. So that's one thing you could do. The next you could do is, what if they had special abilities? If I press X, my character talks, right? It's called a taunt. And Anakin's is funny because his lines are in English, and he'll say stuff like, "You're smoking up the tracks, Limo." It's really funny. So Boba, if you taunt, has a flamethrower that comes out only the right side of his ship, and you can't control that. But what if what if you could? What if you could customize each character's bonus thing? Like Saboba could have a flamethrower. What if you could control the intensity of it, the range of it, the length of it, how long it lasts? Things like that. That'd be so cool. And what if each other person had something else? Like Anakin instantly cools down his engine. And so you're boosting and you can use it once per race to instantly cool down your engine. Or something like that, right? That'd be such a cool idea. Because then you can modify the character, what pod racer they're in, and you can modify their bonus thing. That would be so fun. There we go. First place. And because it's the end of the circuit, not only do we win someone, but we get a little, hey, it's Mars Guo. I like him. He's good. There you go. I won, and you can't skip this either.
In the galaxy.
In the galaxy. Even though it's the amateur circuit. Thank you. I like your confidence. Food song. Fud saying Mars Guo right there. Now who's third place? I didn't see him. Oh, Tinto Pagalies. Sweet. But just imagine if they could revamp it. The only other thing I'd add about that, I would keep the mechanics. Keep the mechanics the same. Okay. Really quick, because I got first place in all of these. And you can re-race these, but you don't win any money. Nothing happens if I re-race these. You know, like it doesn't change anything. I can't win money. So once you race something once, you're stuck with that. And that's one reason this game was kind of counterintuitive. I didn't know that. There's no retries. But because I won first in all of them, it unlocks the invitational pod racing circuit. And oh my gosh, these are fun. I love all of these. Race number 2 is known as the hardest map in this game. But anyway, the last thing I would change, like, keep the mechanics of the game. But what if, let's go to Mars. Oh, he's this way. No, he's not. I was right. Yeah, he was left. Mars Guo. Look at those stats. Love it. He's pretty good once you have the accelerant up. But, winner takes all. Vehicle, inspect vehicle. You could change the paint, the looks, the cockpit. Like, you could have so many customizations that would make this game so much more fun. And it'd be so worth it. It'd be so cool. I can just imagine what that would be like. Anyway, so we just unlocked the semi-pro pod racing circuit. Technically, it was already unlocked, but I like to play them in order. But this is the next difficulty. The winnings go up by about 1,100 Truggets, and the difficulty goes up. The courses are longer, sharper turns, but I'm probably going to stop there. So again, thanks for joining me. So now that we've learned on part 1 of this playthrough, we learned about pit droids and how they work. Now we learned about an awesome exploit in the game. I think that's a good pausing point. So thanks for following, thanks for watching, and taking this journey with me. We'll see you in part 3.